podcast. Today, it's not just me, Artie, and Alistair. As of last podcast, we were joined by a special guest. Today, we've got a new guest. And yeah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, hi, I'm Jamie. I am from the YouTube channel Jamie Radcliffe. I called it that because it's my name. I make plenty of great videos, so you
They
should
are
definitely
very good.
Thank you,
Very good.
you, Joe. You should definitely go and check them all out. My most recent video, don't watch that one because that was a mistake.
Yeah.
That one flopped. But you should go and watch the other ones because they're all good. I do comedy sketches that nobody watches, and I do videos on movies and TV shows which some people do watch. So yeah, you can find all my Twitter and Instagrams if you go over to the channel. So yeah, go do that.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, so yeah, go and subscribe to Jamie, brilliant YouTuber, YouTuber, different skit things. I'll stop describing it now. And yeah, let's go straight into the news.
Right, news, yes. So, I have some Star Wars news, some pretty sad news. It's that recently in an interview, Mark Hamill has spoken about saying goodbye to Star Wars. The actor who famously played Luke Skywalker through 6 major movies and a Christmas special has confirmed that Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker will be the last time he wields a lightsaber on the big screen. Speaking to Entertainment Weekly, Hamill confirmed as much, saying that Episode 9 was bittersweet. Ooh.
That's a big oof.
That is
big oof.
Sad to see.
Oh, I still feel so sorry for him.
Yeah, it's all because he lost Jodie.
Lost what?
Leia. I've forgotten her name.
Oh, right, okay.
Jodie.
Yeah, Jodie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, that's it. I'm getting mixed up.
Jamie, what are your thoughts on the Rise of Skywalker, just briefly?
I like the film.
Oh god.
Oh no, I'm scared. Right, okay. If I get cut off, it wasn't me. It was them.
We will not kill him, I promise.
Right. So I like the film, and I think I made a point in a video that I think critics gave it bad reviews. The thing is, you can't criticize fan service because it's one of those things that everyone wants, and then when we get a movie full of it, everyone criticizes.
That is a valid point.
And so, I think that even if the fan service didn't kind of hit home every single time,
Lando.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one. I think it was a good movie overall, and I like it as a finishing touch to the trilogy. It makes me sad that we might not see Rey again because I like Rey.
Fair enough.
We are going to see Rey possibly in an animated series that will sequel The Rise of Skywalker at some point next year.
That's interesting, because if they're doing an animated series, I suppose they could bring Luke back as like an Obi-Wan from the original trilogy sort of presence, like he could guide her partially.
In the series, it's rumours they have plans to bring Luke Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker and Kylo Ren back.
Nice.
In some
We should
way.
point out for you listeners, this is like speculation. There is no confirmation on any of this.
Yeah, exactly. And more interestingly, the speculation says that they might not return as Force Ghosts. So we could be seeing some either really interesting storytelling or really bad.
It sounds like have you guys heard about the Marvel What If series on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like a Star Wars equivalent of that to me. Like that's what I think when you were describing it.
Yeah. I don't know whether that's a good idea necessarily, because I feel it almost undermines the world you actually have, because I don't know, that's probably just
it works
me.
For Marvel, because in the comics there's an established multiverse, but for Star Wars it's kind of brand new.
But then with YouTube channels like Star Wars Theory, they thrive off videos of what if this happened, what if that happened.
Yeah, that's true as well.
And they all get millions and millions of views, so it's clear that there's a big majority of Star Wars fans that want to see those types of things.
Yeah,
no,
that is very
people
true.
Wanting to see their own ideas being put into something, because I've watched those videos and I thought, yeah, that should have happened, and I know that should have happened even though I didn't watch the movie, or like that was. You just come to realize how stupid some of the scenes were. But
just Star Wars writers sitting in a room, guys. We can't come up with anything too good because then they'll be annoyed about what we put in the film.
Yeah, I think it is a kind of interesting problem that because there are so many brilliant fan theories out there, when you go and watch one of these big blockbuster movies, or even Doctor Who or Stranger Things, there's too many like fan theories in your head for you to just sit there and enjoy it because you're like, oh, this could have happened. So yeah, I suppose.
I feel like if they do a what if series, it's a good way to have cool ideas that are cool in theory, but would actually break the universe. Like, what if Sidious came back? Or what if the Doctor was a super special Time Lord that can never die? It's like
it's not like those ideas have ever been done before.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, shall we move on?
Yes, I have news.
Ooh.
So David Harbour has recently done multiple interviews about Hopper's future in Stranger Things season 4. Of course, the big reveal was originally supposed to be that he wasn't dead, but then Noah Schnapp leaked it, so they released the video.
That. Oh, that must have been.
So David Harbour has speaking recently at Liverpool Comic Con. The actor noted in season 2 where 11 finds boxes in Hopper's attic labelled Dad, Vietnam and New York, and he essentially hinted that in season 4 we will find out how important and indeed what are the contents of those boxes, those 3 boxes.
That's actually cool. Really interesting. I hope we do.
It's been said in season 1 that Hopper used to be a big city cop in New York. We don't know much about his family, and he clearly fought at some point in Vietnam. So they're going to be the 3 key things we kind of see about Hopper in season 3. Season 4, sorry.
I can just already tell.
Yeah, you can sense the flashbacks from here.
Who should play really young Hopper? If they did flashbacks with a young Hopper, who should play him?
That is a very good question. I think they'd probably CGI him, but then maybe if he was so young that they couldn't. I'm not sure. I don't actually know.
But if they did if they did it when he was with his dad, then he might need to be a teenager.
I'm not too
I'm available Netflix.
Yes, hire Jamie. Would be perfect casting. American accent.
Oh
Hang on, let's hear your best American accent.
Oh, I really don't want to offend people.
Here we go. For the podcast.
No, I can describe it for the listeners. I sound like Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob if she had a lot of whiskey.
Oh dear.
Now I want to hear it.
No, we don't. Right.
Yes, we do.
Moving on. Are we done on that story?
Yeah, that was it basically.
Oh, cool. Right, next for me for the news. Well, I'm going to be discussing again about the Xbox Series X, and they've just released the new 13 new games that they've already vectorized to be supported via 4K and 120 FPS, which is really, really, really good.
It's gonna look good and it's gonna look fast.
It's gonna look good and fast.
Is it going to be fast or is it just going to look fast?
No, the movement's going to be smooth. Like low FPS means that if someone was running in one frame, they would be like somewhere,
it's like,
and then the next they'd be somewhere else. High FPS, you'd see all the stages between them getting somewhere else.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like do you know when you go in edit and it has to be like every single little frame? It's like that. But they do it on an insane amount of scale, like an insane scale. But they're going to be vectorizing these games. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I'm guessing everyone here is going to be enjoying. Bright Memory Infinite, which was shown in an advert, which I personally thought looked a lot like Titanfall, just without the Titans. But it
So it was full.
Yeah. But it looks really, really nice. Very excited to see that. We've got Call of the Seas, Chorus Dirt 5, which is also advertised. Don't think it looked that great, but I'm not too surprised. Dirt 5 isn't like a major game,
isn't it?
NFL 21, which we can't really talk about because we're not American.
Yeah, America, woo!
Scarlet Nexus.
Yeehaw!
Scorn, Second Extinction, Ascent, Medium, Vampire, Masquerade, Bloodlines 2, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. Most of these titles no one's ever heard of, but
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you've lost me completely.
Yeah, the only ones I've heard of is
Yakuza is like the mob, but in I think Tokyo or Hong Kong.
Yeah, these look like a lot of Japanese games, to be honest. So, you know.
Also, some of them just sound like if you had to pick video games that would be easy to convert into 120 FPS.
Yeah.
Those games would be the
2D
one.
animated one that can go to 120 FPS.
Yeah.
Big oof.
Because isn't Cyberpunk 2077 going to be 120 FPS?
Yes.
Or have I made? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was rumored for Xbox 360. Then it was rumored for Xbox One. Now it's rumored for Xbox Series X. So who knows when we're getting that game?
One thing I like with that though is at the moment I think it's supposed to come out in July.
Really? Oh.
Apparently
it's meant to be
so.
quite soon, but you know, it's.
The one thing I like about it is they're saying that if it does come out in July like they intended, if you buy it on the Xbox One, apparently you're going to get a code with it so that if you get the new Xbox, you can get it for free on there.
Wow.
And I like that if that is what they're doing.
It's very nice. Doesn't seem like a very good sales technique. We'll give you a free game.
No, but
you
it
ever heard of
encourages
buy
people
one
to
get
buy the
one
new
free,
Xbox.
You know that you get a lot of games free nowadays when you buy an Xbox. Like normally for the Xbox One X, it's normally Forza Horizon 4 or stuff like that. They've even created like Fortnite versions and stuff that's utterly useless.
Yeah, didn't they do a purple Fortnite Xbox?
Oh dear.
Honestly.
Oh dear.
That's disgusting.
Anyway, shall we move on from that?
Yes.
Right. Into the final piece of news. I'll keep this quite brief. I don't think there's much to discuss, but continuing on from the Time Lord Victorious multi-platform Doctor Who game, they have today announced 2 specific books and their titles, which will come out in October and December. So the first one is Doctor Who, The Knight, the Fool and the Dead by Steve Cole. Now, this seems to be a 10th Doctor standalone adventure, and he's in his normal costume, normal coat and everything. But the interesting thing is, when you go to the next book, which is out in December, called All Flesh is Grass by McCormack, it is David Tennant in his big Time Lord destroyed collar, etc. So I think we are going to see a gradual decline into full-on Time Lord Victorious, evil dictator type Doctor taking over the universe or something like that.
This could be a stupid question, but when does this happen in the timeline?
Yeah.
Probably
after the waters of Mars. After the waters of Mars, I would have thought. I would imagine that because that was the point. That was the only point in the show that I think it was clear he was very close to turning.
Yeah.
So I would imagine. When I saw it, I just assumed that it was after Waters of Mars. If it's not, I'm right and they're wrong. But
I think it's got to be as well, because the events of Day of the Doctor, go with me here, the events of Day of the Doctor take place in between Waters of Mars and End of Time, and on the first book cover, it is David Tennant from a promotional image of the Day of the Doctor, and then later on from that, we see him in his Time Lord Victorious robes. So I think they are trying to, as you say, Jamie, put it in between Waters of Mars and End of Time, some parallel universe type stuff. I don't know, but it looks really quite interesting.
So throughout the whole series, is he going to go from good to bad to good again, so that he's good for End of Time?
Yeah, no idea. Probably. I think he's going to go power mad, and because we know that Rose Tyler is back for this. I think he's just going to like bring her out of the parallel universe. He's not going to care or adhere to any rules, like he says at the end of Waters of Mars.
Is this going to be canon?
That is a very good question that I have no answer to. Probably. I mean,
because I assumed it was similar to what we were talking about earlier, the what if. I assumed it was.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It could be, but yeah, actually, I don't know. I think it's 50-50 really, because you could have the whole his mind's wiped like the War Doctor sort of thing. It was a big catastrophe. You forget it, or it could just be a complete spiral parallel universe thing.
It sounds like if Russell T Davies just went into the office one day in like a really bad mood.
Yeah, true. Anyway, do we have anything more to say on that, or shall we move swiftly on? Right, so last 2 podcasts we've discussed the existence of ghosts. So today, on a slightly more, probably I'm going to say this is more outlandish. No, sorry, less outlandish than ghosts. Aliens. What do you guys think about aliens? Do you believe that there are aliens out there? Do they exist? Have they ever been to Earth? Discuss.
Oh, yeah. I know this sounds really weird, but I do believe there's other life out there. But
yeah, the probability is very high.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking even said there is life out there, but we're more interested in them than they are in us. Like, they most probably just think of us as like a new virgin planet that shouldn't be touched. But
no, actually, what Stephen Hawking said was the exact opposite of that.
No,
he said
Oh, no.
he said if aliens ever did come to Earth or know of Earth's existence, they would more than likely do what we as humans do when we go into new surroundings. For example, the British Empire, they like colonization of Africa. Aliens would probably come to Earth, take what they need, and leave. That was Stephen Hawking's idea, but I don't actually agree with that, because I think if they've got the abilities to travel through space, they're going to be a little bit more than like savage apes.
Yeah, there's more raw rare materials in the asteroids going around different planets in our solar system than there is on our Earth. So there's pretty much no point in taking us over. Apart from the fact they could maybe use us as like slaves or placed as a pit stop.
That's a really fun thought.
Yeah.
I reckon if they come here and they want to invade us, we just say, listen, you can have Mars, you can have Jupiter, just leave us alone. Okay, and we'll be fine.
Sorted. Jamie, do you believe there are other life forms out there?
I honestly don't know, because the thing is, if we were to assume that the universe is going to go on for trillions and trillions of more years, what? Right? If you just to assume, what if it's literally just a case of one civilization gets as advanced as we are every few billion years? And because there is no definitive way to say what the odds are, or maybe, who knows, maybe we're actually the most advanced civilization in the universe. Imagine we could just be sitting here waiting for aliens to come and invade us, when actually
we'll be the invaders.
We're the ones most likely to be the invaders by a good few thousand years at least, in terms of how advanced we are.
That's a very fair point. Yeah.
But we don't know, different materials on different planets can make them more advanced than us. So even though they may not have the technology than us, that the raw materials they have may be able to advance them further than us. Does that?
You're starting to sound like Alex Jones now.
I suppose, they could excel faster than us.
Yeah, that's true. Artie, what are your thoughts?
There's a theory that there's a barrier at some point along the journey of how things advance in evolution. And the idea that there are no other aliens in the universe means one of two things. And that means that, thing one, we are the most advanced species in the universe. We have passed that barrier, and somehow we're just amazing, and we've got this far. Or the scarier thought is that the reason there are no other aliens in the universe that we can see, at least, is that we haven't hit the barrier yet, and something out there, for whatever reason, has killed all the aliens and stopped them from advancing further than we are now.
A new strand of COVID-19.
Possibly, yeah. So in the next few thousand years, we could hit that barrier and either stop advancing or die.
Well, cheery
the other
thoughts.
idea is there are aliens and we haven't found them and everything's fine.
I mean, when you said, we were going to be talking about aliens, I jotted down some jokes about Space Invaders crisps and stuff. now we're talking
Let's
about
hear them. Let's
this.
lighten the mood. Come on.
I really just kind of wrote down Space Invaders, and I was hoping to joke into the conversation somewhere. But now we're talking about, the meaning of the universe and
yeah.
This segment always seems to get surprisingly deep.
Yeah.
And
no.
Actually, you can't really say that. Last week, Jack Sparrow joined our podcast. So
it wasn't Jack Sparrow. It was Artie.
Oh, you said this in the live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, I talked about Captain Jack Harkness from Doctor Who, and I can't remember who, but someone on the podcast, it might have been Ben, who was another co-host, misinterpreted it as Captain Jack Sparrow. Then Artie would not stop speaking like him for the duration of the podcast.
Always gone.
I'm not editing
Shut
you
up.
again as Jack Sparrow.
Okay. Question: what do we think of the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot with Karen Gillan?
Yeah, I heard about that, and I think that could be really interesting, actually. I think she'd suit the role.
No.
I want to see Scottish pirates. I just think it would be great.
We've got the Curse of the Black Spot from Series 6 of Doctor Who for that. No thanks. Never again.
If Karen Gillan was going to be a pirate, then just have her turn up in the next movie. Johnny Depp is that franchise. It can't happen without
okay.
him.
Right, he is right.
Right, but here's the thing. I forget their names. Oh, who were the side characters? Who were the couple?
William Turner and Elizabeth
Swan.
Something or other.
Swan.
Yeah,
Swan.
right. They're the ones. In like the first couple of films, those two were actually the main characters. Okay?
Yes, but they still wouldn't have worked without
They
Captain
were-
Jack.
Yes, but as soon as they tried to make Captain Jack the main character later on in the series, I'm not going to say what my opinion is because I want Disney to hire me, but the critics and the box office started showing a decline as soon as you actually tried to make Jack the main character.
I'm not saying that he should be the main character, but the point in the reboot is they're saying Johnny Depp won't feature in the movies.
Oh,
I'm saying
just
that
make him
he
like an
needs to
Obi-Wan
be in
Kenobi
it.
character then. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Can he
On a
train
sort of
Karen Gillan? I want to see that.
Unrelated note,
Yeah.
have any of you seen Mary Poppins Returns?
No,
Yes.
I don't want to.
Because I do not understand for the life of me why Dick Van Dyke appears in the film but not as Bert. Like, why?
Because they're stupid.
No, he comes back as this bank manager guy.
Maybe he was Bert, but
He
he
wasn't.
got rich.
They reference him and say he's gone off to a different city or whatever. And then he's in the movie anyway. But
Right,
he's
Maybe
completely
he got
is
to the city,
undercover.
got rich and came back.
He's undercover as a bank manager, and he is trying to take down the system from within.
Boom! Right, we've got it. I think that is a good note to end the Are Aliens Real?
Oh no!
How have you gone
So-
to Mary Poppins?
Me.
Mary
Sorry.
Poppins is
Let's
an
go on
alien,
to the,
confirmed.
film review
Mary
thingy then,
Poppins
shall
is
we?
a Time Lord. Think about it. She
I've
has a
seen
figure
that.
on the
I've seen
inside
that on
bag.
YouTube before.
Yeah, she is.
God.
Anyway, speaking of Time Lords, remove the Lord and add a child. I've never said that before. The Timeless Children.
Oh my!
This is not family friendly,
no.
Joe. Not family friendly.
Right. Okay, back on track. The Timeless Children, the latest episode of Doctor Who, probably the most controversial of all time. What are your thoughts on the Timeless Children? First, let's give it a rating out of 10, each person. So, Alistair, do you want to start us off?
7.5. No, 8. I'm feeling a bit harsh. Yeah, 8.
9.
Fair enough.
I'm just finding your collaborative review because I can't remember what I said. I think I gave it an 8.
Yeah, that most people seem to put it either 8 or 2. There was no real in between. Yeah, I'm going to probably give it 7.5 or 8, around that area. What are all of your thoughts on the big reveal of the Doctor was the Timeless Child all along? How do you mind that sort of screws with canon and opens up a few plot holes, or do you like the idea?
No, because she's in a parallel universe.
Oh yeah. See, exactly. See, boom, my theory.
To me, because I was hesitant of that theory because I'd seen it popping about a bit, the parallel universe thing.
Yeah.
But genuinely. Yeah. I think that the Timeless Children, that to me made me genuinely believe that the Doctor might be in a parallel universe.
Yeah, I really hope she is, because I don't hate the Timeless Child arc, but it would be so cool if after all this she discovers she was in a different universe the whole time, and then she gets back to our universe and Omega has just decimated everything. He purposefully moved the Doctor into the wrong timeline or whatever, and yeah, you can have so much potential story stuff and multi-Doctor adventures. But
I wondered if it was going to be a Time Lord that was behind it. Hear me out. So you know how the Doctor, after the regeneration from Capaldi to Whittaker, got thrown out the TARDIS?
Yes.
What if somehow that wasn't the Doctor's TARDIS? If it was a Time Lord behind it, another TARDIS was put in the place of the Doctor's, and it was somehow like programmed to take the Doctor to the wrong universe and chuck it out.
Yeah, because when you think about it as well, before they land on the World War I battlefield, the TARDIS is teleported up to the testimony ship, and they have it for the majority of the episode. Hence why they use the first Doctor's TARDIS. So theoretically, there is a lot of room for them to have like tampered with it or changed it up, and yeah, that could add some really more depth and intrigue and stuff. Yeah. So any more thoughts on the episode?
Pretty good.
Sacha Darwin was very good.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see the Master to be like her brother or something. That would have been quite good.
No, because that would just make the whole Missy and 12 really, really awkward.
As I said before, Luke Skywalker and Leia.
That does not justify it, Alistair.
They axed a John Pertwee story when the Doctor and the Master were going to be confirmed as brothers.
Yeah, because that was because Roger Delgado died in between, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether that would have been a good addition to canon so early on, because it was it would have shaped everything up until now. But then if they are brothers, it makes things like The Last of the Time Lords from Series 3, where the Master refuses to regenerate, it makes that really, really impactful. And
the one thing, now this has always been like a confusing spot. Do you remember how it was referenced by that woman that the Doctor was crying, so he slept in the barn?
Yeah.
And all the other children and all his other like brothers and sisters were sleeping in the house because they didn't have a problem. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Something that would really bother me, and this is only a tiny thing, if the Doctor was crying and wasn't able to sleep with his brothers and sisters, if the Master was indeed his brother and they had such a close bond as children, the brother would have come to the barn with the Doctor.
Yeah, that
and it's just like a tiny thing, but I was watching Listen the other day, and that would really
just
bother
one of the things in the back of your mind. Yeah. Artie and Alistair, have you got any final thoughts on the Timeless Children?
I just think it's a smashing episode executed brilliantly, however, has no regard for its effect on the canon. I think everything in it is brilliant, but it ruins Doctor Who.
Fair point.
Do you think they should retcon
That is
it?
a very contradicting sentence.
Yeah,
No,
it's all
because I think
brilliant
the
apart from.
I just think it ruins Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's like the what's it called, The Rise of Skywalker, in that if you just switch your brain off and watch it, it is really enjoyable. But the minute you start to think,
yeah,
oh dear, uh-oh.
It's like I think it's just it's a bit depressing, because when you watch it and you piece it together, I remember just after it aired, me and you, Joe, were talking on the way to school, and we were really enjoying the fact, it gives us the hybrid, it solves a bunch of different things. Yeah. But as soon as you think about the Doctor being the timeless child and being this never dying person, it's rubbish.
It's just an excuse
I wouldn't go
BBC
that
to keep
far.
on Doctor. That is it. It's an excuse for the BBC to
No,
keep
it's
Doctor
not,
Who airing.
Alistair, because
Just
they
think
can
about
do
it.
that anyway.
Oh,
I thought about it,
Really?
and it's not. Think about it. The Doctor had a whole new set of regeneration cycles. If they were going to do that, they bring it in at the end. The thing is, it does actually fit with a lot of things that have happened before. Like, it explains away why in Series 6, when Matt Smith is shot by the impossible astronaut, he just casually starts regenerating. And yes, it's the Tesselector, etc. But yeah, it solves things. The only thing it destroys is the mythology of the rogue Time Lord that ran away. And yeah.
I like the idea
Did
that
they ever answer
Ruth
why
is the timeless child and the Doctor's just randomly there.
Did they ever answer why Ruth had a police box?
See, that is a really interesting thing as well. What I'm hoping for, as I've said, is that it's a parallel universe, and she is the parallel universe's Doctor, and the parallel universe's Doctor is the timeless child, because that's all fine and dandy, and that would explain why she has the box.
Because
if it's pre-Hartnell, it makes no sense.
Exactly, and something else I don't like about the timeless child. There are plenty of things I love about it, and I think it solves a lot of issues, but I also think it makes lots of issues. If the Doctor had been alive that long, if we assume that through all the weird things that happened to the Doctor, he/she kind of had a similar personality throughout, because there's always been the core things that the Doctor has kept every time the Doctor's regenerated. Why did it take the Doctor so long to run away?
Yeah.
Because in the original canon, it took him 100 years. We're saying that someone with a personality like the Doctor took 5 millions and millions of years to run away.
Yeah. I hope things like this are addressed, because there are so many minor little issues. But I think
oh my gosh.
We're not getting back into it.
Tension from Doctor Who has been removed, because she can just walk up to a Dalek, he shoots her, she regenerates, and uses the energy to destroy them like Matt Smith did.
Are you telling me, this is the trump card, are you telling me that there's no tension in Torchwood because Captain Jack, not Sparrow, can just die at any point and come back to life?
No.
Are you telling me that whenever we meet Riversong, there's no tension because we know that she can't die at that point, she will die in the library? No.
Yes.
And also, Artie, we as an audience know for a fact that the Doctor's just never going to flat out die, because then you don't have the show, do you?
No, obviously not. But it's still stupid. Whenever the Doctor's under threat, we now know how he's going to survive. In Torchwood, they're quite clever. Rarely does the tension revolve around Jack dying. It does every once in a while when it gets super deadly. Other people dying. And Riversong, I don't like her anyway, so I'm not going to talk about her. But with the Doctor, we now don't need to imagine a way for him to get out of situations, because if they do kill him, he'll regenerate, or she'll regenerate and kill them like Matt Smith did.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's always been we don't actually know the powers of the Doctor as of yet, because we haven't properly seen Captain Jack in Torchwood. They put a bomb inside him yet he still comes back to life. That probably wouldn't happen with the Doctor. There are still situations you could put him in, because it's not like he can just sort of re-emerge from broken bits of rubble like Captain Jack. We don't know what species the Doctor is. We don't know, in the universe that the Doctor comes from, there's probably a whole array of ways that the Doctor can die, because she's not a Time Lord, she's different species. So I think, yeah, it doesn't really remove tension from that.
If the Doctor was so important, when he ran away, why did they just let him?
Yeah, they're just like, see ya,
if he was
bye.
so important, they're just like, oh, pop into the corner shop, is he? What a cheeky
Yeah, he's
boy.
just gone to get some milk, he'll be back soon. Oh,
it baffles me, this. But also, right, okay, David Tennant's Doctor was so friendly with the Jadoon, right? Well, I mean, it was a love-hate relationship, but he was quite friendly with them. So why is the Doctor in a Jadoon cell?
Yeah.
I've got so many emotions.
It has to be the parallel universe. And if not, if you're listening, Chibnall, you know what to do. Subscribe to the Confused Adipose, and then make the parallel universe theory canon.
And the
please.
goddamn podcast.
What? Make the podcast canon?
Come on the podcast. We invite you on the podcast.
One thing I loved that you did, I was a couple of weeks ago, I was watching one of your fan film episodes.
Yeah.
And something that I loved you did, I loved when it was about the anonymous reveal, and you had like David Icke and the fake drama alert and stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to see like a fake Keemstar just complete on Doctor Who, and they're just completely taking the mick out of him. I'd love that.
Yeah. That's what the Tennant era always used to do. They'd go channel hopping and flip through things. If they did that in a modern era, you would go to like all the YouTube nutters and all that stuff. So yeah, hopefully Doctor Who does that as well. Come on, Chibnall, if you're listening, which you definitely are.
I was going to ask. Sorry,
if you are listening, just resign and let's hire Russell T Davies.
Artie, no.
You know the Time Lord thing that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Is Christopher Eccleston is signed on to do that, isn't he?
We don't actually know. Like, I think there's a slim once again, it's 50-50, because he could just be in books, but then that would kind of be rubbish.
Because I was at a Comic-Con once because I'm cool like that, and it was London Film and Comic-Con last year. And I spoke to loads of people who met Christopher Eccleston, and they were all saying that they had been at conventions and met him or just seen him from a distance before. Never had he been willing to talk about Doctor Who so much.
Yeah.
And like when it was crazy, I did kind of see from a distance him signing autographs. When he could have had a line of 200 people waiting to get an autograph from him. If someone walked up to him and asked him a Doctor Who question, he had like a solid 5-minute conversation with them, and he was really up for it. And it did just make me think, if there was ever a period of time where it is likely he will make a return to Doctor Who, whether that be audiobooks, shows, or otherwise, it's now.
Yeah, I think because one of the reasons he hated it was the vendetta against the BBC, but the BBC are employing him.
Well, he got blacklisted, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's back in like a drama that's even coming out tonight, The A Word. Christopher Eccleston, he's in that, and that's BBC. So I think the like wounds for Eccleston are healing. And on that note, I think we should wrap up today's podcast, because this has been quite a long one, I think.
Dokey.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jamie, for coming onto the podcast. It's been great having you here.
It was my pleasure, mate.
Once again, subscribe, Jamie Radcliffe on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram as well.
Yes, they're the ones.
Yeah, okay. So, Artie and Alistair, do you want to say your goodbyes?
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye. And thank you again, Jamie, for coming on.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, my friend.
So, yeah. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Aloha.